There are days when it's more than others. Welcome into McCready and Siskey into the live stream. I'm Neal. That's Tyler. Happy Monday to you.
What it is?
Just dropped an almond. Trying to find
I
it.
saw something looks like it fell out of your microphone a second ago.
Yeah, it was an almond. How are you?
Can't talk.
I know.
Got it.
This is my second show today, so I'm
been a good show.
I'm going to have to shut it
I'm
down.
going to cancel for the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to call an ambulance.
Yeah. Let's get a ambulance called. A lot of speculation.
Big day in media today. Did you see this?
I did.
Tucker Carlson out at Fox.
Hey, are you going to announce it here?
No, I'm taking over.
That you're taking over for Tucker?
Everybody's been accusing me of being, what is it? Clay Travis. I'm a Clay Travis wannabe.
Okay.
What I've really been doing was being a Tucker Carlson wannabe, so we'll see how that works out.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Had to get rid of him first. That's done. So now it's Brett Baer was in town over the weekend, so who knows, man? Maybe this thing's gonna work out.
He was in town to see you.
I mean, you see, it was a cover. People thought he was here to see Morgan Wallen or whatever.
Y'all just ate dinner by yourself on the square at about 8:30 on Saturday night.
Supposedly, you could just get anywhere you wanted to Saturday night at about 8 o'clock.
Piece of cake. What it is, man? Everybody good? Good weekend?
Yeah. I had a soccer weekend, and I kind of got sick, so it was okay. I'm not complaining.
Sick.
I got a cold. When you wake up, I woke up Saturday morning, like 12:30 in the morning. My throat was killing me. Head was stopped up. I was like, God damn it. I haven't been sick in forever. I just went and ran on the treadmill and was having to stop every 6-7 minutes to blow my nose, which is a sign that.
You don't do the snot rockets?
On the treadmill?
Sure, why not?
That would not be nice to my friend Ryan, who runs our Snap.
Oh,
Fitness.
you were at Snap.
Yeah, on the treadmill.
I keep thinking you're over here somewhere. I forgot that you don't have a treadmill. You got every other piece of equipment over here.
I just have 2 pieces of equipment.
You should do a live stream while you're working out on your pellet. Like have a live stream of you live streaming.
The hairless whisper.
Somebody brought that up to me the other day. I forget who it was, but a grind in with a super chat. We got 2 back-to-back here, starting off hot. Grind. UGA is the SEC champ and back-to-back champs. Does Bama still have a better program? I'm assuming we're talking about football. I don't think you can say I think they're equal. I don't view one as better than the other. I think they're both elite.
I'm trying to think.
I don't think Alabama's better than Georgia. I don't think Georgia, I'd say, is better. They're winning right now, but I don't know if I would say they're better. I mean, they're good programs.
Who's recruiting at a higher level? About the same? Or is Georgia starting to recruit at a higher level?
No, I mean, everybody was ready to count them out. Then Alabama came in with a stupid class again this year. So, I mean, according to the gurus.
Neither one. I guess Alabama does the portal a little bit more than Georgia does. Georgia's not a huge portal program.
No, I mean, Alabama's not either. They really haven't. The portal guys haven't worked out for Alabama very well either. So, and then Michigan has back-to-back Big Ten titles, beat OSU twice. Does OSU have a better program?
Don Lemon got fired?
Yeah, that was I thought that's what you were talking about.
Really?
That and Tucker Carlson. Yeah, that back-to-back.
Wow, what a day for media, huh?
Well, you think
Black Monday.
I mean, Tucker Carlson just got them. They just had to pay $787 million.
Yeah, but
boss is probably not happy with you.
I don't know how much that was his. Supposedly,
I thought it was straight him.
No, I don't think so. Supposedly, he was about to start talking about another lawsuit that Fox is involved in that's a little bit more contentious for Fox.
No.
It's another one of those.
So he's just going to go on another media stream and talk about it.
So how many job offers do you suspect Tucker Carlson has already today?
I mean, if I was him, I would go what's the dude that got fired? The first famous guy got fired there? Bill O'Reilly?
Yeah.
I mean, he can go off and do his own streaming thing and probably make as much money.
He's bigger than O'Reilly ever was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can go off and stream. And
I mean, his numbers, forget what you think of his ideology or whatever. His numbers are off the charts.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna be Zip Card said Tucker's gonna be okay. He's worth $420 million. Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
If he's smart, this is my opinion, he'll go the Rogan route.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Go independent, go streaming, whatever, and then get paid. Austin came in and says, Neal, if you can get Tucker on MPW, he'll appreciate it.
I mean, he's got time now, but something tells me that that's not likely.
The grind coming in hot today. Recently, grind another super chat. I recently found out not every state has spring high school football like Ohio. If you had to be on one side of the fence or other, I'm definitely having spring football in high school. God, Austin, y'all coming in hot today, man. Y'all get your money back from the concert already or something? Austin, what does this mean for Fox News? That's a Neal question.
Their stock has plummeted today. And if you pay attention to, and I'm interested in stuff like this, if you pay attention to all of the cable networks, all their ratings, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, all of them have been seeing plummeting ratings. People are tired of them all, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what side you're on. People are tired.
And so that's what's interesting about it is that no matter what you think of Trump, whether you love Trump, hate Trump, or if you're like me and you're just tired of Trump, but Trump is oxygen for the networks. I mean, they put Trump on or build stuff around Trump and they get ratings. That is not a political comment. So if anybody accuses any of that being a political comment,
who gives a shit?
Right.
That's why you got a podcast. You can say what the hell you want to say.
He's oxygen. So Trump's been in the news. He got indicted. He's running for president. He's calling Ron DeSantis names every 5 minutes.
And then go ask him to be his running mate?
Calling Joe Biden names. Joe Biden's about to announce his re-election bid tomorrow, according to sources. And yet ratings are down.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. It tells you, what it tells me is that so many more people are cutting the cord on all that stuff. They've kind of they've seen through it. And people are going to more independent sources of journalism, like I've done with the podcast that I listen to. And, I listen to Rogan, not every day, because God, 3 hours a day, who has 3 hours a day? But I'll scan through some Rogan stuff, and if he has somebody on who's really interesting, I'll listen. If he doesn't, I'll just move on. No big deal.
Yeah. So I've stopped watching the news, so it is what it is. But Grind, going back real quick, what he said. Grind said about
high school football.
Yeah. So as a high school coach, I think it's important because you're actually teaching skills, and in high school, it never stops. Your clock's a little bit different. And so, as dumb as this sounds, spring football was almost like the start of our season. All right. Because we went spring football all the way. We didn't start till late, till like May, right? So that led you into camps. And then, when you're with team camps or whatever, 7-on-7 in the summer. And so I did all my installation starting in spring, and it led to summer workouts and things like that. You could be with your kids more, but it wasn't, if that makes sense, it was more of a continuation of what we were doing when I was a high school coach. But anyway, there you go.
All right, ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Welcome into another edition of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. You are unprepared. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this gorgeous, at least in North Mississippi, Monday afternoon. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope that all of you have your voices intact. You're ready to go here on a last week of April.
Yeah, dude.
2023. We're brought to you by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Oh, so, all right. So the rainstorms are out, and this is what we're rocking right here, the rainstorms. They are the...
What's flavor? I have the Valencia orange.
Okay, I have the Harvest grape. I had that yesterday.
Okay. Tyler knows I'm an orange kind of guy.
Yeah. So let's go live taste test.
All right.
Go ahead and go.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Dude.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So I had that yesterday. I was like, if I've ever drank a drink like this to mix with a nice little vodka or tequila, that's it right there that you're drinking. So I'm going with the Harvest grape.
So 10 calories. It's less caffeine. I don't know how much less, but less.
Yes, much less caffeine. I think around half. Don't quote me on that, but it's a plant-based deal. It's totally different, and it's actually found, I think, in the store a little bit different than you would find your normal rain if you've been going to the store. But this Harvest grape tastes like, dude. You want me to tell you what this tastes like? This tastes like grape Fanta.
Oh, from back in the day.
Yeah, from back in the day, or a grape popsicle. You know, when you just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is what this is. This is phenomenal. Grape Jolly Rancher. I mean, this is on point.
You still a popsicle guy?
No, my kids are though.
You don't like popsicle?
I mean, I'm not going to turn one down, but
Yeah,
I'm not going to go
on a hot day in the summer. You just grab popsicle.
I'm not going in search of popsicles. No,
we always had those. They were like blue, and there was a red one, and there was a grape one, but you had to cut the little top off, and you squeezed it. It was frozen.
Yeah, that's what.
What are those called? I don't know.
Yeah,
those were great.
Those kind,
and they'd kind of melt by the end, and you drink the end of it.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. What's going on? What's happening in your world here?
Well, dude, Friday. I went to the Ole Miss baseball game with our good friend Mach 10 Sports on Friday, and he's got some good seats. His uncle has some good seats, so I was down there close, and I got to do some people watching. That was the most fascinating thing I think I've seen in a minute.
So you went to the Friday night game,
the Friday night game, 8:30 game.
Okay.
And our good friend Morgan Wallen shows up. He's about 30 feet to the left of me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I sat there for 5 innings and watched divorces start to formulate as all of these women. At first, I just started watching all of the people around just not even watch the game. They're just like staring like it was a alien or something. And then you had, because he was down at the very bottom, and so people couldn't get down to him, right?
Were people leaving him alone?
Oh, no, at first they were, right? So he went about an inning, and then it was a bunch of dudes that started taking pictures with him. Well, when that happened, and he was gracious, he was taking pictures, smiling, the whole deal. To see, this was the most fascinating thing for the whole baseball game, besides the dude throwing 100 miles an hour. That's freaking beast. And
yeah, he's Paul Skeens' stud.
And Dylan Cruz just hitting
monster.
200 miles an hour off the barrel. But
yeah.
Just to see these women, the length that they went to try to sneak around, and to see them off to the side, like I could see them off to the side, like gaining courage to go ask for the picture or whatever, And so, and then see like the security guard, not his security guard, like the stadium security guard, try to intervene. And then when he would look away, they would start trying to scheme ways to get over there. Because once you got to him, he'd take the picture, right? But like, dude, he was in more marriages than finances. I mean, and then seeing the husbands getting pissed off.
Really?
Oh yeah, just getting all jealous looking.
See, here's the thing. Why would you, as a husband, get pissed off because your wife has a little crush on the music star? Because look,
I don't know. I don't care.
He's not,
probably some insecurities.
Yeah, she's not leaving with him.
No,
because I mean.
I would hope not.
I mean, it's not happening. And so the odds are overwhelming that if anything, and let's just have an honest moment here.
Yeah.
I mean, if she gets all stirred up, the odds are overwhelming. You're going to be the one that benefits from it. And it's kind of like that moment in Bull Durham where Susan Sarandon makes a really good point when she's talking to Nuke LaLoosh. And she says, do you want to be the one with me and me calling his name, or vice versa? And it's a great question.
And then I guess after the same guys that were upset, last night, the same guys were upset, I guess, Friday night. Last night, they were able to look at their wife and say, see, honey, he's got a problem performing too.
I mean, there's a reason. Hey, there's a reason that when you turn on a college football Saturday or an NFL Sunday and every other commercial's the two tubs up on the top of the hill.
That's right. It's my good friend. What's his name? Cialis?
Yeah. I hate those commercials. They make no sense. It's like, so wait a minute.
No, the best is when you're sitting there when you're like your 7-year-old kid and he's asking you what that is. Us just vibing for adults.
But I mean, if you think about it, by the time you hauled 2 porcelain tubs up to the top of a hill, they're not hooked up to any water. By the time you fill them with
so
water.
You're worried about the logistics of this whole thing, right?
Well, by the time you fill them with water, you are going to be exhausted. And then there's 2 of them. And so if she's in a tub and you're in a tub, what's the point?
It's just PG, man. It's a commercial. It's PG.
Can you imagine how dirty the tub would be after all of the up and down? You'd be like Jack and Jill hauling pails of water, you know?
Oh, dude, you're a trip. So yeah,
it's a dumb commercial.
Yeah, but sitting there and watching people, like grown people. Is the kid's like what, 20s? He's in his 20s, right? 29, 30, somewhere in there.
Somewhere that
I say kid. He's a man now, but just the fawning over like it was damn Michael Jordan that showed up and not even paying attention. That was funny. And then when my second favorite was when, I don't know what the attendance was. I have no idea what the attendance was Friday night. Probably around 10,000 plus or minus, right?
Sure, I don't know. I'm somewhere in there.
There were that many people in the building that were looking at the dugout waiting for Bianco to come out to pull a picture. I mean, it was, and everybody's like, what are we doing? I mean, like all 10,000 people knew. It was like, okay, he's going to leave him in and let him face lefty. But look, it's third time through the lineup. Dylan Cruz is going to get up there. We're going to pull him. And then everybody's like, oh no. It's just a matter of time. And dude, when he walked out after the Grand Slam, that was, there were some not very happy people in the building, but it was so bad that's actually what ran Morgan Wallen what left after that decision.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's extra when he left. So, but it was entertaining, man, to watch people. So I followed that up with a spontaneous wake 'em up, roll out trip to Talladega yesterday. Had no plans of going, I guess until Saturday night, and then went to Talladega. Took the whole family, my wife, my boys, the whole trip with the whole crew, man.
Yeah.
My wife did it protestingly. She wasn't excited about going.
She did not want to go to Talladega.
No,
Why?
No, she thinks it's boring. And my good friend Greg saved me. One of my best friends on the planet. He saved me. So I called him because he goes all the time, and I asked him if he was going. He's like, yeah. And so he had some tickets, so I didn't have to buy tickets. So he saved me there, but tickets wasn't that expensive. They're about $40 or $50. But he has, when you go to, I've ruined it for my kids. All right, because my buddy's got sweet tickets.
Yeah.
And so they've never.
Because if we go, I want sweet tickets.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. You know what I mean? Like, you got all the beer you can drink, all the food you can eat, all the cookies. For my kids are just, they're like, and you're in a suite now, you're on top of it, and it's still loud, but it's not like outside loud. So my wife was able to handle it a little bit better, so she didn't bother me. She was in the air conditioning, but it was actually cool yesterday. So I did take them on a tour. We got there about an hour early, and so my buddy Greg has passes where you can. So we park inside the track. And I'm not talking about the infield. I'm talking about like he gets worker pass, and he parks between where they take your ticket and where you walk into this. Like, I'm here from that TV to a concession stand. Like, he parks inside the track like a worker. And so you have to be rolling, because if you don't, when people start coming out of the track, they got to cross you and you can't get your car through. So, but you're able to get in and out, and that road takes you to the airport where all the drivers, planes and stuff are. Michael Jordan was there yesterday.
Oh yeah, did you see him?
I did, and then saw his airplane.
I'm guessing it was pretty nice.
Well, it's obviously very nice. I think it was big. It was probably a Challenger or something, right? But it was, the snake skin Jordan shoe look.
Yeah,
his whole plane was the snake skin with a freaking Jordan logo on the tail.
Oh,
he's doing okay for himself financially, I think.
See, I don't get starstruck very often. I think I would actually I would get starstruck around Michael Jordan.
100%, dude. Yeah, I'm the same. I would really be,
because like I see athletes all the time. So when you see an athlete, even a professional athlete, you're like, whatever. I see pro athletes all the time, but when you see someone like him, I would be like, that I'd be pretty, not nervous, but I would feel different.
Yeah,
he's different.
He's different, but it was pretty cool. I did see it was tamer than normal. Maybe that's because I was more sober than normal, but it was definitely tamer than normal. Interesting thing out of Talladega, besides the people were a lot tamer. If you went out in the concession, so you have the seats in this massive concession area, right? There were beer lines as long as you could shake a stick, but the Bud Light deal completely empty.
You were kidding.
Not one person in line. I'm talking about there were 150 people in the Miller Lite line. Not one person.
That's unreal.
In the Bud Light deal.
They have lost so much money. I mean, forget the politics of this.
I mean, the dude that was selling it was playing on his phone.
What were you thinking? I mean,
the person that resigned or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. With pay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she got a vacation.
Yeah. They're hoping it goes away. But you know some people are like, I don't know that this is going to go away. They're starting to go, hey,
see what happened was.
So what happened was.
Now they're pissed about the response or something. They put up those "Stop Being a Crybaby." That was their response.
Oh, that's not good.
Did you see that?
I did not see
that. Oh,
that.
yeah. They're posting up billboards that says, "Don't be a crybaby." Good response.
You know, I'm not one of these people, okay? But the people that are brand loyal in the beer thing, they're brand loyal.
Oh, yeah, and they're quitting.
I mean, those are the people that they're a Coors Light guy or a Miller Lite guy or a Bud Light guy, and they're in. And Bud Light was the one that, I mean, you're a Miller Lite guy. Yeah. You'll get Miller Lite every time.
But, I used to be a Bud Light guy, though.
But the Bud Light people were like maybe the most loyal. Like, they would not drink the other beer.
Well, I was being serious when I was talking about this.
What are you thinking?
I was being serious when I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Everybody thinks I'm joking, but I guarantee you there's a bunch of people that listen to this show that are in the same boat. When I was in college and we didn't have any money, it was Natty Light and Busch Light. Busch Light was like, that was like good stuff. And like it was a really, when you got your first job, man, and you didn't have to go buy Natty Light, it was like, hey, I can go to the store and get Bud Light every time now. Uh-huh. And that's kind of what you went to. I can go get Miller Lite. That was like all right, I know some of you in here, if you grew up nice and you didn't have these problems, but where I grew up, that was like, dude, you've made it. As a young man, I don't have to go buy that shit anymore.
My dad drank Miller Lite, and then at some point, he sort of switched to Michelob Light.
Yeah.
And Michelob Light came in a bottle, and Miller Lite came in the can.
Yeah.
And so when the Michelob Light, like I remember when I bought my first 6-pack of Michelob Light, I was like, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
They don't make it anymore. It's gone.
No. How about that? You can get the Michelobs still, but not very often, but you can still get them. But yeah, no, it's single-handedly, they single-handedly killed a brand.
They still sell Lowenbrow?
Dude, I don't know.
I can still sing the damn song. In my head, I was just singing it. I was like, what's the name of that? Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
There ain't no doubt.
I mean, it tells you marketing works, which is again, back to my point. What were you thinking? Like someone should have been like, hey, I know we got to score some points and stuff, but this is not, no, this, we are telling the people that drink our beer to go eat a bag in favor of people that, let's be real, don't drink our beer.
Right.
Hey, tell me how that makes sense.
Snide says, I grew up with Keystone. I still can't drink Coors as a result. Tastes too much like college and regret. That's good shit right there. That's good, Snide. That was funny. It made me
I'm the one that every time Campbell's coming home, I'm like, hey, can you stop by that liquor store up there? I want this beer, and this beer. I start thinking, that's probably not the best example in the world.
Yeah, she'll be all right. She's got it now.
She's okay.
She's okay. She survived. All right, before we get rolling.
I will miss that though. I will miss having a legal one up there because I'll go back to having an illegal one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because Caroline.
How long she got? She doesn't have long though.
No,
right?
She'll be 21 in March. So, but
a year from now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long fall, boss.
It's gonna be a long fall.
Long fall for old the hairless whisperer.
I know. Because Campbell turned 21. I was like, okay, so you can start buying me you can buy me the Homewrecker IPA now. It's a brewery in Bentonville. It's a good beer.
Yep. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get somebody to drive me back to my house on Thursday night from here.
And there's one in Rodgers that makes this. It's like a key lime Kolsch, kind of a wheat beer.
Yeah.
That on a really hot day is fantastic.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, sorry.
All right.
That's your beer.
Yeah, that's my.
Speaking of beers, if you are looking for a place to go grab one, I highly recommend Walk On Sports Bistro, where they put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana, dig into their mouth-watering, made from scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Also order online at walkons.com or on their convenient Walk-Ons app. If you're in Oxford or Jackson, stop by the Oxford or Ridgeland locations today.
All right. Now it's time to start pissing off the people of the planet. All right. This happened, I guess, after our show. I guess it was Thursday night. Maybe it was Wednesday night. We just had shit to talk about. But so we've had a little NBA player character, I guess, or the way they act on that's gotten some. We had 3 little player incidences. So the first one was, I think the first thing that happened was actually Russell Westbrook, after getting trolled, goes into the suite at halftime and starts talking shit, or starts talking to the fan, telling him he's going to beat his ass and all that.
No, he just told the fan to shut up.
Yeah, whatever. I
basically told him to shut up.
He should have told him he'd beat his ass. So we'll break these down on that one. I know there's a lot of people going after Russell Westbrook on that, but this is me personally. I don't care. You kind of know when you're in the sports world, you get trolled. Okay, it happens.
Yeah,
you kind of know what it is, and you sign up for it. But there comes a time when I don't really mind what Russell Westbrook did, because he wasn't outside. He didn't know somebody was filming it. Obviously, you got to expect that at all times. But it's not like he did it on the court. Dude, this guy followed him in and under the fans didn't see it, and he was wearing him out, and he told him to kiss his ass, basically.
Well,
do you have a problem with what he did?
I don't. 2 reasons. One is, obviously, I live in a house with a Russell Westbrook stan.
Right.
Okay. My son has a hard time cheering against Westbrook when he plays the Thunder.
Oh.
Okay. So
he's hardcore. Is that his favorite player?
No. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's his favorite player. But Westbrook's his favorite all-time player, probably.
Gotcha.
Russell stayed. When Durant left, Westbrook stayed. And to Carson, that was a big deal. And I get it. And look, do I think Russell Westbrook overreacted? I do. Do I also understand it? I kind of do.
Do we know what the guy said, though?
He was using words, and then he was doing the Westbrook thing. What
kind of words was he using?
Bad ones.
Racial words?
No, I don't. My understanding is it wasn't racial. It was just it was starting to get personal.
Oh, yeah. There's a line you can cross, but it's kind of like what we always say: you fuck around and you find out too.
Well, and what there's a backstory to it. I didn't know this. Carson told me about it. That Russell Westbrook's son Noah, who is probably elementary school age, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is very proud of his last name, which is Westbrook.
Right.
Obviously, makes sense. Russell's married to his college sweetheart. They have 3 kids. I know all this stuff. I know more than I should about Russell Westbrook. He has a son and twin daughters.
You guys, Wikipedia pull up over there?
No, I just know too much about him. His wife's name's Nina. No, Russell's. I think Russell Westbrook's a pretty good dude. He's a guy that has that chip on his shoulder that I think he's afraid that if he takes that chip off his shoulder, he won't be the same player.
Gotcha.
It's what
plays hard, man.
It's what motivated him throughout his career. Right, he was a guy that really wasn't heavily recruited. A guy left UCLA to go pro. They had 1 spot left. An assistant coach was like, "Hey, let's take him." Ben Howland, who was the former Mississippi State coach, was the coach at UCLA at the time. They gave him the last spot on the team. He was a defensive guy. He got drafted. The Thunder took him 3rd overall, and it was heavily criticized. Like, it was such a stupid pick, dumb pick. He comes to the league, and they're going to trade him because he can't play with Durant, and he can't do this, and he can't do that. And then he people forget in that 2016 Western Conference Finals for the first 5 games of that series. The best player in that series, a series that featured Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and all those guys. Russell Westbrook was the best player on the floor for 5 games.
Yeah.
And then Durant leaves. Westbrook stays, wins an MVP, all that stuff. You know, he gets blamed in Houston. He gets blamed with the Lakers. He's actually had a hell of a series against the Clippers. But the Westbrook thing bugs him because it bothers his son. And so did he overreact? Yeah. Do I get it? I do. Because when people do things that piss off your family, it changes. It gets personal.
Yeah, the hardest – the only time I don't care – I never cared when somebody from the stands yelled at me. I think I've said this on the show before. The hardest part is your family sitting there, and people are not respect. Like, dude, if I'm on the other side, but like the family section is down there, and you always have some jackass that's yelling stuff, and it upsets your kids or your wife or things like that.
Sure.
That's where I get pissed off. I don't care what they say to me. It's more like when my kids hear it or my wife hears it. Or I guess heard it. And that's when I would, I didn't say anything to them because I never had opportunity, but that's what would piss me off. But there's always a barrier, right? So it's like, it's either your barrier is social media, you're a keyboard warrior, okay? Or your barrier is a security guard or you're in the stands or whatever. But when you can get up close and personal to somebody, they'll change their fucking attitude real quick.
Yeah, because, you look on a,
because I'm not there to play. If I go that far, if I went that far, I'm not there to have a nice conversation. Excuse me, sir. You owe me an apology. We're not having that conversation.
Well, and here's the thing.
I've already made my mind up what's about to happen.
You look on TV, and Russell Westbrook's running around with a bunch of 6'10" guys that look like Greek gods, right? I mean, he's running up and down the floor with, LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, people who, if I could have that body for one day, I would just walk around naked. And then in reality, when you see Russell Westbrook among mortals,
you're right.
You're like, oh,
he's a pretty big dude.
Excuse me, Mr. Westbrook. I certainly did not mean to offend you because Russell Westbrook's 6'3" and
he's big,
pretty well put together.
All right,
I mean, he's not just your casual dude walking the aisles at Walmart looking for paper towels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a different dude.
That's always used to say about when you watched Allen Iverson play basketball. He looked like he was the smallest guy out there. And then if you ever watch he was a phenomenal football player, but you watch his football highlight, he looks like he's 7 foot tall playing football,
Yeah.
All right, but the two other things that I want to talk that did happen between now and Thursday, one was, I guess, happened Thursday night, but was, Draymond Green gets suspended for stepping on the chest of, I guess it was Sabonis or whoever it was he stepped on.
Before that, right? This was earlier in the week, right?
I think it was Thursday.
Okay, because he missed. He was suspended from Game 3, and he played yesterday in Game 4.
Right, he was suspended 3.
Yeah,
whenever it happened. But people are killing him. Dude, don't twist his ankle and you don't have to freaking get stepped on. I don't have a problem. He's getting his ass knocked out by meeting everybody else because of who he is and the stuff he does have a funny past on some things like that. But, dude, the guy was like holding his ankle, let go of his foot, and you don't have to worry about it. I don't think he did. He said, I'm stepping on your chest. Boom. The guy had a hold of his ankle. Let him go.
Well,
there was malice on the guy on the floor's intent on the floor. He didn't hold with 2 hands. You don't hold somebody's ankle and foot and try to twist it because, I'm just happened to be laying here.
Well, earlier in the series, he had laid on top of Sabonis and wouldn't let him up.
I got that. I got you. But, like, at that particular instant, he got stepped on because of that.
But it wasn't a step. It was a stomp. You can't stomp someone's chest.
Don't grab my ankle.
And then, look, there's a cumulative deal there with Green.
I got you.
And then the commissioner was in the building.
I got you.
And he does the deal with the fans. And Adam Silver was like, that's it. I've had enough.
I got you. But, like,
that was a message of, look, you guys might go further in this deal. Maybe you don't. But if you do, this can't be all about you.
Alan said he trampolined off of his chest. Like, I get it. But it's like the old saying.
He's the same guy, though, that has kicked guys in the groin. I mean,
no, I get it. He's done things
completely out of control.
I get that. But at that particular time, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I knew you were going to like that one. And then the one that now the people turned around the next day, because this was the Philly series, when the dude dunks on Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid gets a technical for kicking the guy in the nuts. And there was a lot of people that had a problem with that. Well, I'll tell you this: when he dunked on him, or whatever, and he was on the ground, he walked over him and tried that taunting thing where he walks over. If it was the second he did that, it's all bets are off. Everybody's like, well, he kicked him in the nuts. It doesn't matter. Like, if I'm going to fight somebody, I'm just going to let you know right now, I'm going to fight somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If this guy's going to kick my ass and he's a big dude, I'm not going to go, okay, let's square up. And I mean, if I got to kick you in the nuts, I got to bite your face off. It doesn't matter. I'm going to win the fight. I'm not going to sit there and just let's square up and duke it out, big man. I mean, he got kicked in the nuts because he walked over him. Don't walk over him and we don't have a problem. I mean, I'd kick his ass in the nuts too. Wouldn't you?
Look, I'm not fighting an NBA player ever. If I looked like Joel Embiid, or if I was,
but he was on the ground, and a guy, like, you know how they like walk over him, like
Yeah.
to taunt him, and so he raised his foot up and it just happened to make contact with his nuts.
I don't like taunting.
That's what it was. So
And
you
so,
taunted and you got kicked, and
you
that's
know
what it is. Don't do that. You don't have a problem.
I get where the league is going, though. With I'm not defending the league, but I do understand where they're like, we don't want this to spiral into brawls.
Correct.
And so they're trying to do anything they can just to maintain order in an emotional setting where these are phenomenal athletes. These are big people.
They are phenomenal athletes.
And these are large men.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, these are big people.
Big dudes.
Like Klay Thompson is 6'6", and he looks like, hey, there's the skinny little guy running around. Like, no, Klay's like a big dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't realize until you see him in person how big Joel Embiid is, how big Giannis Antetokounmpo is, Nikola Jokic, LeBron. You ever seen LeBron? LeBron is a big human being. Anthony Davis is a big person.
I've seen him in person.
Just the list. Steven Adams Steven Adams looks like Andre the freaking Giant. You know what I mean? I mean, those are just big people.
Yeah.
And so you are trying to sort of control a very volatile mix.
But you know how we've gotten, like, I don't know. I just feel like we've gotten soft, which I know we have. I don't know, like we've been there. But like, I miss the days of like the Pistons, man, Bill Laimbeer and the Bulls, and that, like, nobody, like, that wasn't a big deal. Now it's like, oh, guy tries to break my ankle, so I step on his chest and
stomped on his chest.
Okay, if he did the big people's elbow on his chest.
But here's the thing.
Here's
the thing. Like, you go back and you watch the Pistons, the bad boys.
Yeah.
And it's Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman and John Sally and those guys. And they had a reputation. And they were trying to hold off the Bulls for as long as they could hold off the Bulls, right? And the way that they did it was, frankly, clotheslining
tackling.
them, right? And
that was fun, though, man.
Look, it was great.
It was, wasn't it?
But you go back and you watch it, and I've watched they'll show those games, and I'm like dialed in,
Yeah. Flagrant one.
Yeah, I mean, the whole game, like where they basically body slam Larry Bird. He gets up going, no, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to kill you now,
Yeah.
And I mean, Larry Bird goes after Kareem.
Yeah.
I mean, God, that was
awesome.
Like, Kevin McHale takes out Kurt Rambis. And I just think if you did that in today's game and it resulted in an injury, I think you would be in trouble. And so
you're right. I mean, everything you're saying is 100% accurate.
And so
it just bothers the shit out of me.
Things change.
They do. All right.
It's like when people do the Jordan thing. Like, how good would Michael Jordan have been in today's game? Let me make this clear. I believe that if you put LeBron back there, he would have been just as tough as everybody else. He would have done all the stuff that he had to do, and he would have figured it out. Because I think greatness, and I think you agree with this.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Greatness transcends generations. Okay? Babe Ruth would be great today. In the same way that Shohei Ohtani would have been great back then.
I don't know if he'd been seeing very many 70-mile-an-hour flat fastballs.
No, but he would have adjusted.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's greatness. He was the best. But my point is, can you imagine?
Would he have canceled after he had a fun night out in Yankee Stadium? Would he have canceled a day game the next day?
Probably. He would have had a couple of, hey, Skip, I can't go. I am still drunk. Nothing. I mean, I lost my voice. I meant.
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I lost my voice. 6 minutes before it was time to go on. Come on. But I think Jordan, can you imagine Jordan if he did not have to worry about someone decapitating him coming across the lane? I mean,
they couldn't play zone back then either. It would have changed a lot of things.
Would have changed a lot of things, but it just would. He played in an era when, especially early in his career, and you go back and you watch those Bulls games before they won the title, when they were getting close but they couldn't quite get over the Pistons. Some of the stuff the Pistons did was criminal.
It really is.
I mean,
I like watching it every once in a while. They'll come on like a ESPN Classic or something, or whatever they call it now. But like just anytime the 88, 89 Pistons are on TV, I'm like, hey, Brock, my 15-year-old, this is what it used to be right here.
It was that one game.
This is how basketball's supposed to be played.
They beat them in Detroit. The Pistons beat the Bulls, and I mean, Scottie Pippen looks like, as he's walking off the court, he looks like, I am going into the locker room. I'm going to find my machete, and I'm going over there, and all hell's breaking loose.
They couldn't have been great friends in the offseason.
Like, that was it. No.
I couldn't imagine. All right, speaking of change, shift gears a little bit.
All right.
The clock rules in football have changed. We talked about this a little bit.
And
sure enough, we talked about it a couple months ago, but they had 4 things, and the 3 that we said we're going to pass passed.
Right.
And so basically we're going to an NFL model with a clock. The only thing that's different is the clock will stop after a first down on the last 2 minutes of the half. All right, the timeout stuff doesn't matter, but that's the biggest one. Interesting thing here is Steve Shaw, who I know. Steve Shaw, I'm getting old. He used to be an official. Now he's like running everything. Great guy. He said that according to their what they figure, that it's going to cut the game down by 7 plays on average. I think that's low.
I do too. That feels like a really conservative estimate on his part. I think it'll be a lot more than that.
I think you're going to see it with tempo teams that like to go really fast. It's going to cost them more than 7 plays. I think a normal team, it won't. But here's what I mean by that is when you watch a tempo team, they get a first down, they're literally waiting on the guy to spot the ball before they snap it. Well, the clock's going to be running the whole time. So that's going to cost about 10 seconds per, like a tempo team. You're talking about probably 10 seconds, if I had to guess, 7 to 10 seconds. And if you start adding up, you're getting now these tempo teams are getting 35 first downs a game. Well, now you're 350 seconds. That's 6 minutes. That's half a game.
What I like about
half a quarter, excuse me.
What I like about the idea, other than obviously speeding up the game, and people get controversy, and I understand. I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts this morning. On one hand, fans say, so we spend all year looking forward to the 12 guaranteed Saturdays that you have, right? Maybe you'll play 13, maybe you'll play 15, 16, but you're guaranteed 12.
Right.
And now we're going to try to rush them through. We're going to speed them up. So you're telling me that I should be excited for less football? And I get that. I get it. I get the argument. But here's where I think it's different. I think you should be excited because you're going to get better football. Like, I think you're going to get coaches are going to value possessions even more because you're going to have fewer possessions. Turnovers are going to be even more pivotal.
Correct.
Than they were before. Because if you tell a coach, hey, look, you're counting on 12 possessions? And you might
depends.
You might only get 11.
Yeah. So
or you're counting on 10 and you might only get 8. Might get 9. Like NFL teams get about 9 to 10
8 to 9, yeah.
8 to 9 possessions a game. If you get a couple bad possessions in a row, you can go night fast.
Now, the last 2 minutes is a big deal for possessions, right?
It is.
And because in the NFL, there's no 2-minute warning in college either, right? But in the NFL, that last 2 minutes, like basically if you get a first down,
it's over.
If you at the 2-minute mark, it's over, right? It's what it is anyway. But I was kind of hoping they did if they were going to change it, I wish they'd go ahead and change it that would change the game now, strategy wise. If they did the last 2 minutes, that would be a nightmare to end the game scenarios and all that stuff for practice purposes and getting ready for them. But it's going to make it just like an NFL game. NFL games get done in 3 hours. And I will say this. I think it'll cut it to about 3 hours and 15 minutes, not 3 hours. because that people are joking if y'all don't think this last 2-minute thing is going to slow it down.
It's going to slow it down.
All right. Also, you cannot have this will actually speed it up, I think, just as much as you can't do more than one. You can't do consecutive timeouts anymore. So the icing.
I'm glad.
Which is going to be a whole other thing, right? So now the new move is you're going to run over there, get ready to call your timeout, and you're going to fake them and never call a timeout. Because once you call a timeout, you're not icing the guy. He's got all day. He knows you're not calling it next time.
Now he can get himself mentally. You eliminate it because they can't stop it now. I'm going to kick it this time.
If you ask kickers, the problem is not letting them think about it. The problem is not knowing when you're going to stop it. Right. So that's why you see a lot of guys leave a time on the clock and act like they're going to do it. So that's going to help. But less possessions. If you look at like the numbers, like points per play, and you said 7 was the number, I think that's low. But I would say the average team around average is probably half a point a play is usually average. I think I looked at it the other day. I think Ohio State led the country in like 0.65 points per play. I know we got a lot of Ole Miss fans listening. I think Ole Miss was in the 50s at points per play. They were like 0.39 or something per play. So you're looking at 3.5, 4 points if you said 7. Again, what I'm saying, though, is like what you're saying, these possessions are going to get a little bit more serious. And you can do some things. Somebody asked, well, should this increase upsets? Alan asked, this should increase upsets. No. And I was like, it's going to shorten the game. And if you are a team that can run the football, you can really run some clock because you're running an extra every first. If you're getting 3 or 4 first downs, you're running another minute off the clock. I mean, there's things you can do to manipulate the clock. From playing keep away from a team. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think teams are going to have to be very conscious in being smart in their play calls, not just running to the line and calling some inside zone every
time. Sorry, got distracted by something.
I thought you were like looking at something.
No. My daughter sent me something. A friend was in an automobile accident, but they're okay.
Everybody good?
Yeah, everybody's good. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's good. That the game's going to be, the possessions are a little more precious.
Yep.
Snaps are a little more precious. And look, I get it if you're in the stadium and it's your team and you're locked in. You don't care how long it takes. But that's not who TV's after. And you can't on one hand go, hey, isn't it great that we're getting all this TV money? And on the other hand, go, screw TV. That doesn't work. TV's paying the bills. That's what's allowing you to do a lot of the things that you do.
The same people that complain about that, I'd like to say, how do you feel? Because how many times have you heard this? How do you feel when you get ready to watch your team at 6:30 on Saturday night on TV and you're getting ready to watch them and then you get that little notification that says, hey, your game's on ESPN app.
Uh-huh.
Well, the reason it's on ESPN app and not playing, and you may not have that, especially older group. Sorry, guys, but if you're an older group and you don't know how to do all the streaming, and all of a sudden you get that notification, hey, this is currently airing on ESPN app. Now you're pissed off because you're going to miss the start of your big game.
Yeah.
Because a game that's 52-10 is 4 hours and 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and seriously, when a game hits the 4-hour mark,
it's ridiculous, dude.
It's unless we're like in overtimes, it's too damn long.
Yeah. It's
too long.
It's never a good game. You ever notice that too? The long games are never like a compelling game. It's always,
with rare exception.
Yeah,
yes.
It's always a blowout. I mean, come on. It's not like you're prolonging a great game. It's always a blowout or something that's undecided. All right. Along with that, this came out, I guess, this morning. This is very interesting to me. SEC's meeting and the SEC meetings in Destin in the spring, and it's funny who's heading this up. We got Georgia's AD, Alabama's AD, and Kentucky's AD. So Barnhart, Greg Byrne, and what's my guy at Georgia's name? Anyway.
I'll think.
But they're meeting and proposing, instead of fining teams when your team storms the field, they got 2 proposals. One of them is going to get shot down quickly.
Okay.
The first one they think is going to pass, and that's if your team storms the field, you lose the next home game. So let's say Ole Miss is playing Alabama in Vaught-Hemingway.
Okay.
They beat Alabama. They storm the field. Well, guess what? You get to go play Alabama in Tuscaloosa 3 straight years.
I'll be shocked if that passes, but I will tell you this.
They think it is.
If it does, that will put an end to it.
Here's my complaint. All right. One, that's the fun police. All right. But I understand the safety side of it.
You know, there was a moment last year, and I think it was Tennessee. Who were they playing? But the kid
Tennessee, Alabama.
The kid punched a girl. Punched her.
It's Tennessee, Alabama.
And I don't know what she said or didn't say. I don't know whether she provoked it or not. But if you're the SEC, if I'm in the room, right, on Monday morning, we get together and hey, let's review our week. Hand raise. You know that could be really bad.
It could
be. Something like that could go really wrong. These are big people. We talked about this. These are big people. They're strong people, and they are full of adrenaline, and they're young.
And they're pissed at that moment.
And something emotional just happened. They're not exactly thinking clearly. This is not Tuesday afternoon as they walk to class, okay? This is not Wednesday evening when they're out at walk-ons, right?
Yep.
This is Saturday. They just played a football game.
And both sides are emotional fans, too. They're not like that on Wednesday either.
Right. And there's a lot of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And coming in from the stadium, there's a lot of alcohol.
Allegedly.
And so it's just a combustible mix. And I get it. It is fun to watch those scenes, right? We see the pictures of Tennessee when they beat Alabama last year, the overhead with the fireworks going off and the fans. And I get it. It's part of college football and we love it and blah, blah, blah. But it is a dangerous thing. And if something bad were to happen, and this is where if you're the guardians of the sport, you know, something goes really bad on that field, trampling, anything.
Yeah.
Where we look up at 30 minutes later and we've got a dead body, we got a problem.
Yeah. No, there's definitely dangerous.
And so I get wanting to go, we got it. We simply have to stop it.
And let me say this too. And for fans that don't know, I think some of this could be fixed by who we have at the keeping you from coming on the field too. Because we hire all these schools, every school you go to. This isn't an Ole Miss problem. This is an NCAA problem. Everywhere I've ever been, the security, quote unquote security, might as well have been my. I mean, sometimes there's a 85-year-old woman wearing a security vest that's supposed to be running security. She ain't stopping nobody. Now
This is why I don't think it's going to pass. By the way, here.
When you got all those people that don't do this for a living, they're just working a job that they have and you're trying to keep them from coming on the field. Like, that's not going to stop them. Now you go put your local PD down there and you pay a little extra money to have your police department down there and arrest everybody's ass that goes on the field. Okay. Tase their ass. Let them know. I mean, okay, that'll slow them down, but you can't have somebody's grandmother trying to stop you from jumping on they're not going to slow down. They're not, because they're not going to respect you because you're not a police officer. And so that's part of the problem too now is the actual security they have on the field. And you have, like, I remember I was on the staff at Alabama when Ole Miss stormed the field. And I remember I came out of the box, so I didn't have a problem because everybody's already on the field. I mean, it was like a ghost town walking through the concourse. There was nobody there. But I remember Jesse Peoples was telling me he was Coach Saban's trooper. He was like, yeah, dude. He goes, because we were running him out. So he said some kid just ran at him, I think was yelling at Nick, and ran right at him. And he just freaking just plowed right through him, never checked up. He goes, some old poor kid from Ole Miss is going to be hurting this morning. He goes, because Jesse's a big old dude. And yeah, I mean, they smoke right through him. But yeah, there's some safety concerns. But also, like, are we going too far? And then the second part is a forfeiture. That's the other thing. I don't think it's going.
I don't think either are happening. But if you're right, you're right. But
it was Kentucky basketball, Alabama, and Georgia football. Mm-hmm. Well, why? Because their fans are never running on the field. That's why they're proposing it.
Right.
Alabama fans don't run on the field. They expect to win. Georgia fans don't run on the field. They expect to win. Kentucky basketball is not running on the field. They expect to win.
Yeah, you know.
And they're the victims of it.
And they're the victims of it.
Almost every time.
And it's scary.
Yeah. But they are the victims of it every time.
I get it.
So, all right.
And it's not something you discuss before the game because you're not, hey, listen, guys, I want to remind you that if we lose,
no,
you know,
you don't want to.
And they charge the field, be gentlemen.
Yeah, you're not even going to bring it up.
You're not bringing it up because you don't discuss if we lose.
Yeah, that's not even in the.
And so then it happens.
Vernacular.
And it's emotional and blah, blah, blah. You do the rest. It's a very combustible thing.
Yep. All right. Last thing, college. Before we get to some NFL. Thought this was kind of interesting. So, Colorado wide receiver, Montana Liminonis Craig. I know this kid somewhere. I was trying to look at him today. I think I've evaluated this kid in the past. But anyway, he was a wide receiver at Colorado, and he went off, had like 104 catches, 120-something yards, and a couple scores.
Mm-hmm.
Then decided to go in the portal the next day. And it really pissed Shador Sanders, got on Instagram Live and called it crooked and all this stuff. And
didn't several Colorado players get in the portal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Post-spring game.
So they actually lost a commitment of a kid that went out there for a visit. But you're talking about a whole new age of new set of spring practice problems. Now, what are we going to do now? I mean, we're just going to do it. I mean, we're already hate spring practice. So now you can't even have your other kids even perform well in a spring game because it's going to be on national TV. Everybody's going to see it. Now their value is going to go up. We're going to start parking spring game guys too.
I mean, I've long told you
what
that
are we doing?
I've long told you that I believe spring practices and spring games are going to go the way of the dinosaur.
This is just another reason
that I think where we're headed is towards a series of mini camps.
Yeah, that's being discussed.
I think a small mini camp in April, a bigger mini camp in June, and then maybe extending fall camp.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're headed.
Yeah, no, it's being discussed for sure, but that's just hilarious to me that he just basically went on national TV, went off and said, you know what? He'll get in the portal. And it pissed took a lot of people by surprise, pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But now I will say this, in Colorado's case, he's in the world now where people are going to start poaching his players.
Let me answer Daniel's question. It's a good question, Daniel. He says, why are players entering the transfer portal after spring games? Here's why. Because people are seeing them in spring games. And during spring practice, what is happening is the tampering portal is ramped up. And when the spring game is over and they don't have any more practices, now you can make the formal offer. Enter the portal, take your money, go to your new place. That's the deal. You have the season, which overlaps with the tampering portal. Then you have the tampering portal, which overlaps with the transfer portal.
It overlaps everything.
And then the tampering portal. Actually, the tampering portal is a 365-day a year thing. He entered the portal in all likelihood because he has a deal cut. Now, he might go look at 2 or 3 other schools. He might listen for a little while, but the odds are overwhelming that he has a promise.
And he showed it. Man, he went out and did his thing. I mean, good for the kid, I guess. But
that's where we are. And so if I'm a coach, no, I don't want to play anybody in the spring game.
Oh, no.
If I'm a coach, I want to turn the spring game into, hey, what's that name of that game that the Sigma News have? Charity Bowl? You know what might be a good idea? Let's let the Sigma News play the Sigma Chi's in the Charity Bowl, and
coach the teams.
Half of the coaching staff will coach the Sigma News. Half will coach the Sigma Chi's.
It's just, I don't know, man.
And the players, the players can take a day off.
Well, the portal closes Sunday, so Sunday's the last day of the portal. This coming Sunday. And
then you have like a 15-day window to decide where you're going. Is that how that works?
No, it's open now. So the last year, the rule was May 1st to May 15th. This year, it's April 15th to April 30th.
Okay.
It moved back 2 weeks.
That's right. And it's completely thrown me off the whole time.
It's open right now. And so a lot of schools finished up their spring. Most everybody finished up either last week or this week. They're having player meetings, deciding. And so you'll see a ton of kids go in the portal this week. This will probably be the biggest week of the portal entering. And whoever is in the portal come Sunday. When Sunday's here, if you go in the portal after that, you're ineligible for next season.
Right.
Okay. So to be eligible, you have to be in the portal on Sunday. And so you got to be. That will be. So it's an interesting week this week.
The big defensive lineman from Georgia that got in. He's
Barry Alexander.
He's going to USC.
Is he? I haven't seen that.
That's what I thought I saw.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. Not that he didn't do it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But that will be probably the. It's a wild deal, man.
If you're worried about your air conditioner going into the transfer portal, maybe it is acting like it needs to be tampered with, get in touch with our friends at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. And it was cool out this weekend. I was wearing a jacket and a parka and stuff in Memphis on Sunday morning, but the heat's coming. You want to make sure your AC is ready to go. So get in touch with Comer or Southern. Different names, same people, same products, same services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer. 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern. 662-429-4429.
All right, let's finish up with some NFL stuff.
All
right. So this happened over the weekend, I guess, or Friday. NFL betting suspensions. Jameson Williams and Stanley Berryhill, 2 wide receivers from the Lions, got suspended 6 games. We'll go over that in a second. Quintez Cephas and my good buddy C.J. Moore out for the year, full year, and then they were cut after that. And then Shaka Toney from the Commanders was also part of that. And then things that wasn't discussed in that, several Lions staff members were also dismissed from this. Don't think any coaches, more staff, whether I don't know what staff.
So all these people were wrapped up in a gambling thing?
All right, so here's what has happened. And so as these apps in all these states, it's legal to bet, right? So the NFL kind of lacks their betting rules, right? So you cannot bet on NFL games ever.
Right.
But you can bet on other things.
Okay.
You could bet on NBA, college, whatever you wanted to on your app. Now, here's where I got a problem. So Jameson Williams and Stanley Berryhill were suspended 6 games, not because they bet illegally, because of where they bet. They were inside the team facility when they made the bet because they have geolocation on their phones. If they had made the same bet in the car at the red light,
right,
this wouldn't be an issue right now.
They'd been sitting at the local steakhouse. They'd be fine.
They'd be fine. Nobody would ever know about it.
Okay.
But the fact that they were inside the facility, could have been in the locker room getting dressed or whatever it was, that made that illegal.
Okay.
Which I think is dumb, in my opinion.
I do too.
If you're going to allow it, why the hell does it matter? And it's legal in your state. Why does it matter what building you're in?
What'd they bet on?
It didn't say, but it was not the NFL.
Okay.
That's all you do know is it wasn't the NFL. It could have been college football. It could have been whatever, ping pong. It doesn't matter.
MMA.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
And they bet on it inside the facility.
Okay.
Now, C.J. Moore, Quintez Cephas, Shaka Toney, the guys that got a full year suspension, got the same thing as Calvin Ridley got, which is a full year suspension, and that's for football, NFL stuff.
That's just stupid.
That's stupid. Allegedly.
You know you can't bet on the NFL. You know you play in the NFL. You can't bet on it. You cannot do it. You when someone goes, "Hey, do you have a fantasy team?" God, no.
Yeah, you can't, man.
You just can't do it. It's a conflict of interest, and you can't do it. And if you're the NFL, you have to come down hard on that.
So I like to go to Vegas, right? And so I remember when I was working, it's highly against college rules. So you can't bet on anything in college. Like the rules in college are, if you bet on anything, any sport that has a college equal sport. So like you couldn't bet on Major League Baseball because they have college baseball. If it's an NCAA sponsored sport, you can't bet on it. So you could go play blackjack or you could go do craps or whatever, play poker, but you can't go bet on games. So when we went to Vegas, I was out there with some buddies and this is what I was working. They're like, "Hey, let's go down here and bet at some baseball games." Nope, not your boy. I wouldn't mess with it.
You could mess on with golf or MMA or something. That's about it, right?
You could do boxing or MMA, but you couldn't do golf because there's college golf.
Oh, okay.
Anything that had that was the rule, and they had this whole thing: don't bet on it, and you didn't mess with it, and that's like you just don't. It's stupid. It's kind of like when it's like drinking, right?
But that was hard for you because you love to bet the WNBA. I mean,
right?
I mean, you're always like, "Hey, I got the Mercury -4." Against the Storm. What do you think? And I'm like, dude, I have no idea. And you're like, look, Mercury is
they're on fire.
7-1 in their last 10 games when
43% from 3-point range. I mean, what are we doing?
Unbelievable.
But the thing was CJ. So CJ Moore he actually was the really good character kid here. I know the kid.
Yeah.
He was on our team when I first got here. Chucky Mullins, jersey wearer, the whole deal. And he just signed in March, signed a 2-year, I think it was right around $3 million, $3 million guaranteed. He did get a $1.4 million signing bonus that he does not have to give back.
Okay.
But he gets cut after that, and it's going to be hard for him to come back. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Because it's one thing when Calvin Ridley gets cut.
Sure.
Or gets suspended. This is a different deal. It's going to be that may be curtains. It's going to be hard for him to come back from that one. So, because he, with his role with big special teams back, he played, but he was a big special teams guy. But he's a great kid, man. It just got mixed up with the wrong stuff, man. And it's sad, really, especially with him, because I know the kid. It's just a sad deal. But the hard part where you're seeing a lot of people complain about this is the NFL's got all these partnerships now with DraftKings and with all these betting tools, but they're very specific on what they tell you to do and not do. And so the rules are broken, I guess.
It's the Major League Baseball thing. If you're ever in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, you can't miss the sign in the clubhouse. It's there. It's big, big letters. You can't bet on baseball at all.
Yeah.
You can't bet on your team, against your team, on another team. You cannot bet on baseball. And if you get caught betting on baseball, you will be suspended for a long time.
Grind brings up a point. I was actually going to talk about Grind. Thank you. Grind said you should be able to bet on NFL games you aren't participating in. And I get what you're saying, Grind, but here's the problem is
you start messing with the integrity of the game.
You start messing with the integrity of the game because these guys are tied together.
They know each other. They know each other. Inside information.
And when I say inside information, like example, when I was coaching in college, I knew several things going on that week with injury reports, matchups, whatever it was that like, hey, it's like one I will never forget for whatever reason is I remember like in 2014, I think, 2014, we were going to play Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, and those guys. I knew before we went in there that the score of the game was going to be 40-something to 40-something, if not more. Like, because we ain't got nobody that can stop Mike Evans. Anytime they get tired, they're just going to throw it to him. We have nobody that can cover him at all because we had some injuries. I said, and we're going to run through them like shit through a tin horn because they can't stop us. Like, it's literally going to be who has the ball last. Literally, the only reason we won that game, I think we ended up winning by 7-14, was because we deferred to kickoff and got an extra possession. And then they stopped us once, and then I think Vinny Sinceri picked Johnny Manziel off and ran him for a pick six, which kind of flipped the possessions. But, like, things, matchups, injuries. Like, I knew when we played Oklahoma, we were in trouble in the bowl game because Clinton Dix had a torn meniscus and nobody knew. Things like that, know that you can't.
Well, that's
so
the
players
stuff
talk.
That's the inside information that Vegas.
That's what they get. Yeah, they try to get it too.
Because they're trying to get basically moles in every program.
Yeah. Speaking of Vegas, this is lead up on our next topic. I didn't have this down. Will Levis odds to be the number 2 pick changed overnight to like -1 something.
I saw that. And usually that means something.
They got it from somewhere.
I mean, I'll never forget in the NBA, it was last year when the odds on the number 1 pick, who Orlando would take, overnight, the night before the draft, went from Paolo Banchero being like plus 420 to minus 160. I was like, whoa. Somebody in Orlando told somebody in Vegas something.
Yeah.
And what they told them turned out to be the truth, that, hey, they're taking Banchero. So watch Vegas over the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Because if you want to know,
they'll tell you.
That's the best clue.
Yeah, they'll tell you.
So Levis going second, because here's the thing, and this is going to lead into your topic.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think of this.
All right, go ahead.
The test. What is the test called? It's the cognitive
test.
C.J. Stroud apparently did poorly.
Allegedly.
That's the better word. Allegedly did poorly. Levis allegedly did well. And these teams are – Bryce Young's going number 1.
Yep. His odds have gone from like plus something to minus 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a secret anymore that the Panthers have made their decision. And they're going to take Bryce Young. And so now everyone's watching the second spot. And this is where, and you and I talked about this, you knew this would come. They've had all this information, and they're overwhelmed. They have become the guy at the restaurant that can't decide which dish he wants. And now it's so much thinking that he's liable to order something completely different than what he's been thinking about for the last 30 minutes. Do I want the pork? Do I want the steak? Son of a bitch, I'll take the pasta dish. That's where we are a little bit. And Stroud, for the longest time, was going to be the next quarterback. And then this piece of information comes out, and they go, oh, shit, can he process anything? Is that why he did this? And they go back and they watch his film. And the Richardson thing, and this is the football part that I think is wise. Richardson did the underwear Olympics and looked like $80 gazillion. Like, holy shit, that's LeBron James out there on the football field. Dude. I mean, God, he looks great.
Probably the most impressive person, but even more impressive than Cam Newton.
Yeah. Well, he looks, Cam wishes he could look like that.
But I'm talking about a big athletic dude.
Yeah, and he can run.
He
can really run, and he can sling it. And they're like, oh, my God. If we could channel that, we'll win all the Super Bowls. And then someone says, yeah, but watch some of that film. And then with Levis, they've got that film from a whole year where he was really damn good. And he did well on the cognitive thing, and he looks – if Richardson weren't in this draft, people would be raving about Will Levis physically.
Do you know he eats bananas with a peel on?
Yeah, it's just insane.
Have you ever heard of that before?
No. I don't like bananas at all. But and then the mayonnaise and the coffee, that is just.
He's like anti Neal McCready.
Yeah. Will and I would not.
You'd be very upset if he was a Bengal.
No, but I mean, Will and I, if we sat down at the same table, I think would look at each other like, what are you doing? Like, and he would be like, hey, live and let live. And I'd be like, no, you're a psychopath.
I don't understand the mayonnaise and the coffee. I could do if you could tell me about some nutritional value of a banana peel.
Well, you're putting an egg and oil in your coffee. For what? I mean, that to me, that screams, I need attention.
Maybe. Well, I put mayonnaise in pinto beans.
Yeah, but you don't drink pinto beans.
Dude, mayonnaise and pinto beans.
It's disgusting. It's why I wouldn't draft you first pick. But this cognitive thing is interesting. So what do you think about it when something that sort of subjective is thrown into the mix?
All right, the draft gets really weird, which we're going to get to experience this here in about 72 hours. And it gets crazier the closer we get because there's no more film, there's no more pro days, there's nothing else to do. So we just sit in a room. It's like when you're thinking too much and overthinking
that's what
things.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Paralysis by analysis.
Correct. Look. It always seems to work itself out, but I think these tests, the same thing I did with
the Bears say hello.
Yeah, what's the what was the test before this?
The Wonderlic.
The Wonderlic test. Like, guys, it doesn't hamper them from producing. If it doesn't hamper them from producing in college, then it's not going to be all of a sudden be a problem because they're not smart. There's a whole look. I've coached some people that are the dumbest people on the planet, but you know what happens when they get on the football field? Dude, they can freaking go. They can process. They know this. They get all that. And then I've met some really smart people that analyze things really well, and they get out there and they freeze like a deer in the headlights when they see zone blitz coming. They don't know what to do with the ball. Like they look like Will Ferrell on Talladega Nights. They don't know what to do with their hands. So I'm not going to let a freaking test that a kid take. I mean, he may have been bored. Like, what the hell am I taking this test for? And just marking answers. We don't know all that. Like I just don't believe in. If it was that big of a deal, we wouldn't be hearing about it for the first time 4 days before the draft. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I get that it was down, and I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, that's it. That's my deciding factor is not going to be because of some test that we just started.
Right.
Is going to make my pick for me. If I'm going to get fired, it's going to be my fault.
What it tells me is that inside these rooms, you've got this guy right here, right, who's going, hey, our guy is Richardson. And the guy next to him going, no, Stroud. And the next guy next to him was like, we should take Levis. And the next guy's going, you know what? We should make the trade. We should trade. We should just Lamar Jackson's out there. Let's go get him.
Yeah.
And so you've got all these people that are trusted people that have been in the process, and it just tells me that you've got a lot of different opinions. Because let's be real about all three of those guys. We could do it with Bryce too, though I think Bryce is going to be a star. But
he's cut above. It's not even
but
close.
the guy who goes, "Hey, he's really small, and I'm worried about it." I get it. I do.
Yeah. No, I get
totally get it.
It's okay to have questions on a guy, but at the end of, like I've said this, and I'll say it again Thursday, whatever. To me, this is to me, the only one I'm spending a high draft pick on is Bryce Young. After that, I think there are available quarterbacks, and you have leverage. All right, the Texans fans on TikTok did not like mine. They don't like giving up. They think they can get Trey Lance for a third-round pick, whatever. I'm just telling you what they're asking TikTokers. All right, but here's the deal is, why would I go spend all this draft capital on a guy that we all know? You've got major questions. I don't think any of the three, if you just say, hey, yes or no, are they going to make it? I would say I'm leaning no on three of the four. If they made it, great. That's awesome. All right, but I'm not going to spend a 2 or I'm not going to a 4 anyway. Just go. There's so many quarterbacks out there. And let's talk about the Texans, okay?
But it's a quarterback league.
I get it.
And here's the thing.
But they're not going to be the ones that solve the problem.
But here's the thing. You don't have a quarterback, okay? You're the Texans today.
But they do.
Who?
Mills.
Okay.
He's better than anybody of if it's not Bryce Young, he is going to be better than any of the three guys next year on their football team. He's not terrible. He's not great, but he's going to be better than any of those three guys under center for you week 1.
Then if I'm them, I'm trying to trade down. I'm telling people that I'm going to take.
I'm taking Will Anderson.
Or I take Anderson.
You get what I'm saying?
But here's what I was saying was this. It's a quarterback league, and if you don't have an established star and you pass on one of these guys and they turn out to be Mahomes,
right,
Josh Allen, you're done. You don't survive it. That's the thing. It's a quarterback league, and so we talked about this for months. We'll talk about it on Thursday night when we do our show. When your turn's up and you're like, what's the safer pick at number 2? Will Anderson or Will Levis? It's Will Anderson all day. But then you do this thing to yourself, and you've had months, and they all do it. We do it every year. They'll do it again next year.
And the year after that.
But someone in the room goes, Levis's ceiling is whatever. Levis's ceiling is a Super Bowl quarterback. Because if I tell you, hey, Tyler, I'm going to let you build your team around a rookie, you can either have a really good, like an all NFL outside linebacker or an all NFL quarterback. You're going to give me the quarterback because it's a quarterback league.
Yeah, if you told me it was all NFL guy.
Right.
But I don't think they are.
But I don't either. But someone in that room probably does because they've had a chance to just fall in love with them, right? And they've analyzed it to the point of
exhaustion.
Yes. And they go, if we pass on this guy and our guy ends up still being really effing average and Levis goes to the Raiders, Cardinals, whatever, and wins 2 Super Bowls, we're done. We'll never live it down. We'll be.
You can always. I know what you're saying.
We'll be the people who passed on Patrick Mahomes.
That's where I'm at. Which there was a lot of people, but that's where I'm at too. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Maybe not these days, but that's normally it used to be the saying back in the day. I guess this episode's brought to you by the Biden administration.
And she'd drink Bud Light.
She'd drink Bud Light, right? Or he or whoever. But here's the thing: is I'd also at 2. I can go ahead and tell you, Will Anderson's going to be a Pro Bowler quickly. Like, he is as safe as it gets. These other guys, if you pass on the guy, like, there's a better chance for those guys not making it than there is making it. Name the last 3 quarterbacks drafted in the first round that have panned out.
I'm not good at this.
Just off the top of your head. They're young quarterbacks on their first contract.
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
No, he's off of it.
Oh, Justin Herbert. Clemson, long hair, yeah.
Okay, so you just gave me 3 quarterbacks in the last 3 drafts, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I miss anybody?
No.
Okay.
So what's to tell me that In this draft, we got 4 that are going to make it, but we've only had 3 in the last 3 years. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, sure. No. I mean, there's no question in my mind that one of these 4 guys will be a total bust.
I think 3 of the 4.
That one of these guys will be close to a bust, and that one of these guys will probably be just kind of average.
Yeah, they'll be a backup or whatever. They'll stick around or whatever. But anyway, that's to me.
But I get it. All I'm saying is I get, because it happens every year, and all of these people aren't stupid. They just have way too much time and information, and they just overanalyze it. It's the sitting at the restaurant, looking at the menu, where if you would just walk in and they say, hey, what do you want? I'm going to have the steak.
Yeah.
But you have some time and you have a drink and you have a conversation and someone goes, I was here a month ago and I got the pork chop and it was absolutely amazing. And you're like, damn, it sounds kind of good. I'm thinking about that pork chop now. But I was here to get the steak. And then you see the waiter walk by and he's got this chicken dish. And you're like, that looks amazing. And now you're off in La La Land, right? You're like, well, I came here to get a steak. And 5 minutes ago, I was ready to order the pork chop. But now that chicken, you're looking at the person and the person's going, oh, this chicken's amazing. And you're like, oh, my God. Then someone says, have you ever had the pizza here? And you're like, oh, my God, they have pizza here? And before you know it, and you can't order everything. You got to pick one. And before you know it, you are stressed out about what you're going to order at dinner. Do that times 80 gazillion and put your career on the line.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah. I would be more than willing to do that. I guess
they walk into the room, of course, but you understand how someone can get spun.
Well, it's like last year,
they walk
right?
in going, hey, we're just going to take Anderson. He's the best player. We have a second pick. We're going to take Anderson. And someone goes, well, hey, look, did you hear about Levis's workout or whatever? What before Anderson's got weird feet or whatever. Before you know it, you're just thinking too much. And you got the guy that's over here to the left, who was the guy who 2 years ago nailed the draft. He said, we should take this guy at 7, and they took him, and he's an all-pro.
Yep.
And he's going, guys, it's Richardson. And you're like, some bitch. I mean, he's good at this. And before you just start spinning. And I've talked to NFL people, and they say that is exactly what happens in these rooms.
Here's the thing: is like last year we're sitting here 1 year ago right now, just so everybody remembers. 1 year ago, Malik Willis is going to be the first pick in the draft.
Yeah,
and it'll be a 3rd round pick.
Yeah,
it seems to be on draft night.
Well,
everybody kind of comes to their senses a little bit.
Well, the other thing that happens is there's a lot of misinformation being bandied around right now, and also there's some NFL people that don't like a few of these draft guru guys, and they'll intentionally feed them bad information to make them look bad.
Yeah.
So there's some of that too. So here's the bottom line, and it's the reason that Thursday night, even though it's too damn long, there's a reason that Thursday night ends up being kind of fun, is that you don't really know. Like
there's always a surprise.
Outside of Bryce Young going number 1, we don't really know what's going to happen at 2. And there's a real chance, and this is according to multiple media people, that starting at number 2, the trades could come. And that what NFL people think they know, again, what's true on Wednesday might not be true on Thursday. It doesn't mean that the people on Wednesday were wrong. It just means shit changed. And the draft is fluid because one big trade shakes it all up.
So that will end with this. That's when it can get crazy. If the Texans don't take a quarterback with 2, for whatever reason, we could be in for a shit show of a night. Because let's say they say, hey, whatever they're going to do, we don't take a quarterback, we take Will Anderson with 2.
Yeah.
You just shook the whole thing up because now Arizona has stupid value for the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
And they're accepting trades and everything else. Like the Texans not taking a quarterback at 2 could really change everything up. So, and then the last thing, Aaron Rodgers, I think his deal is going to get done sometime next couple of days.
Okay.
So I think he will be a Jet by Thursday.
Okay.
So
we've been brought to you by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, 0 sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. And if you can find the Rain Storm, fantastic.
I got these at stopping to get gas yesterday morning in Pontotoc. On the way out, that's where I saw them. I have not seen them in Oxford yet, but I haven't actually looked. So if you see them in Oxford, if you please let me know, will make my life a lot easier. Bob's sending me some. We just haven't got to it yet. And then Thursday night, me and you, Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. We'll get started 10, 15 minutes before the draft.
Live show.
Yeah, we'll do a live show. We'll figure out a way to take some calls.
May have a guest coming. Maybe.
Yeah. The only negative will be we'll be probably streaming. I don't know whether we'll figure out something. We'll probably be streaming, so we won't be a little behind, but we'll have Twitter and stuff. It'll be fine. It's no big deal.
It can't be too far behind.
Yeah.
It'll be good. We'll can we drink beer?
Oh, Cole says that the Rodgers deal is official.
Oh, well, how about
just
that?
Now, per Adam, as you call him, Schneffner.
Scheft.
But it's Adam Schefter.
I got you mispronouncing it now.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna look and see what it is real quick. So let's see, Shefty. What's he say? The two sides talked for weeks before it broke down, then discussions heated up last week. Finally, Jets GM Joe Douglas and Packers GM were able to bring their differences and come to an agreement. Trade compensation per sources. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers 6 minutes ago. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers, pick number 15, a 2023 fifth-round pick, and number 170. So they get a second and or pick number 15. The Jets get pick number 15 and a fifth-round pick, and the Packers get pick number 13, so they swap picks basically in the first round.
Okay.
They get a second-round pick, so they swap second round. Looks like they got their second round pick and sixth round pick and a conditional second round pick. That becomes a first in 2024 if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays.
Oh,
that's a lot to give up.
That is. That is.
How about that?
Probably the start of a pretty active week.
Here we go.
So we will be back with you on Thursday night. Again, no Thursday afternoon show. We'll be with you on Thursday night, probably for a long time.
Can we drink beer?
Yeah.
You going to drink something with me, or I'm just going to be sitting here drinking by myself?
No, I'll drink beer with you.
All right, because it could be a fun show if we do that.
Yeah, no, I'll drink beer.
Are you going to eat pizza? Or can we get pizza? Or will you go full in and let's just get beer and pizza, and then you can go run 46 miles on Friday to make yourself feel better?
If you want to order pizza, we can order pizza.
I'll order pizza. Bring some beer.
All right.
Will you participate? Am I going to be sitting here just getting fat by myself?
I'll go in with you.
What's your pizza of choice?
I'm a thin crust. My favorite, you and I are on the same page on this. My favorite is probably sausage and pepperoncini, but I like pepperoni and pepperoncini, and I like sausage and jalapeno a lot.
I tried the jalapeno. It wasn't the same as the pepperoni for me.
And I won't do jalapeno on the air because sometimes jalapeno can kind of make you hiccup a little bit. And if I ever do like the specialty pizza, I'm the all meat guy.
Okay, we're right down the.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Pretty close on that. The only thing I don't like on pizza, I can pretty much eat anything on pizza. I don't like pineapple. It's not good.
Yeah, same.
And I don't really like. I can eat them, but if you told me that I can take something off, I'll take mushrooms off.
Dude, we're like 100% same on that. I don't like bell peppers either.
You know what? I'm not crazy about bell peppers either. Now, if you told me I can either put bell peppers or mushroom on, I'm like, give me the bell peppers. I'll figure it out. Because I don't really like mushrooms at all. Like mushrooms on a pizza, I'll almost be like, I don't really even want the pizza.
Yeah. Now, do I need to bring you any blue cans or anything? Or are you?
Yeah, I'll provide my own beer.
You're not going to have any blue cans?
I will probably be a little fancier than that.
This episode is brought to you by the Biden administration. But I'm trying to work on a guest.
Okay.
To join us as well.
I'm definitely a thin crust.
Don't hope to do that, but I'm trying.
Are you thin crust or you hand tossed or
thin crust?
Yeah, I'm not a thick crust guy.
No, I don't. I
like the pan pizza stuff with the big thing. It's not my thing.
There's a pizza joint back home called Mata's.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it.
All right, it's thick. I don't know if you call it Chicago. Help me out. It's like it's crust.
Yeah,
it has all the fixings on the crust. And then the cheese, is that a Chicago style?
Yeah, I think so.
But it's a thick, dude. They call it a Greek pizza. It's phenomenal.
It's almost like the Chicago pizza is like at Malnati's and I mean, they're great. But like you eat one slice of that and you're done. It's really more of it's almost an effing casserole. I'm not criticizing it, but when you have to get it. It's really good. And if you ever go to Chicago and you've never been before, you should go.
Yeah.
It's one of those rites of passage thing
Right.
you should do. Because there's nothing wrong with being a tourist. If you've never been someplace, be a tourist one time. It's okay. It's kind of like the whole earlier in the weekend, people were like making fun of Morgan Wallen's music. And I'm like, he's got 5 songs in the top 10. He's probably pretty good. That many people like him. And if they do, awesome. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like what you like. If the bottle of wine that you like is a $16 bottle of wine, good for you.
What's that kind of like? Cabassus?
Yeah, whatever.
What's the one I like?
Oh, the Camus. That's
Camus.
That's a $75 bottle.
Is that how much that costs?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me there was a poor man's version of that wine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
What's it called?
Bonanza.
Bonanza
Comes from the same grapes, just not as quality of grape.
Dude, we may have a bottle of the Bonanza on Thursday night.
Oh God, who's driving you home?
I don't know. I got to figure that out. I got to figure out the logistics because I'm not driving home.
No,
I'm gonna get after it. I think.
Okay.
Thursday night, draft night. Telling all kinds of good stories.
You should just get Aaron to drop you off,
probably,
and then pick you up,
and then Uber home or something. I was gonna see if one of my kids would do it.
Well, that's a thought.
I don't know if I trust them driving all the way back by themselves.
I'll let you figure that out. All right, we'll be back on Thursday night. Yeah, green peppers. Green peppers are bell peppers.
Yeah, Grind. What are you?
Green peppers and bell peppers are
the same thing.
Although earlier, Grind, and we'll do this on Thursday some too because the draft gets laborious. Yeah. He had a date put mayonnaise on a pizza, and I'm out. I'm like,
mayonnaise on a pizza? He said spaghetti earlier. I saw that.
Yeah, I'd be
a date.
Yeah, I would look at her and say, "We're not going to work out."
It's like what they call red flags. Yeah, you're out.
I don't care how hot you are. At that moment, I'm realizing this just isn't going to work. There's no chance that this goes anywhere. So we should stop now.
Yeah, that's automatic disqualification.
Just, you know what? I wish you a good life.
You're terrible. Grind. Green peppers are bell peppers. There you go.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back on Thursday night. Till then, take care.